Isekai anime has completely lost the plot, man. What originally was just a simple story about a person trapped in another world or universe, possibly even a video game, has somehow transformed to this. I was reborn as a vending machine. A vending machine. Really, guys. If somehow you're watching this and you don't know, Isekai is a subgenre of anime. Specifically, a subgenre, and I quote, that generally features a protagonist who is transported to another world or dimension. This genre often explores the protagonist's struggle to adapt to their new environment to find their new place in this world. Anime like ReZero and Sword Art Online and Overlord are some of the most popular examples of this genre. Wait, I just had a weird realization. Is Digimon technically isekai? Now, this genre has absolutely exploded over the last, really 6-7 years now. What originally was just one of many subgenres of anime and manga has now exploded to be possibly one of the most oversaturated of all of the subgenres. I remember the first isekai anime I ever watched. I think it had to have been Sword Art Online. For many, the classic stuck in a video game story, an anime, or manga. Now, obviously, a younger me easily became infatuated and obsessed with Sword Art Online. I mean, come on, it's a kid trapped in a video game, let alone a fantasy kind of D&D MMO-esque inspired video game. ReZero and Sword Art and several others really kind of set the blueprint for this kind of classic isekai trapped in another world, specifically a fantasy universe that generally involves or behaves with kind of video game rules. Generally, I think in the broad concept of isekai, this is where it kind of functions best. I mean, it makes sense. These are all themes and genres that we're super familiar with, whether they're taken from video games, which were originally taken from Dungeons & Dragons fantasy-esque themes. I would say that most anime viewers are probably gamers of some variety, so these type of hybrid video game-esque themed animes and mangas are naturally going to be popular and be relatable. Over time, this is really where the genre started to become saturated. There was just a lot of these clones, these kind of fantasy isekai-esque clones. You could just straight up predict the plot of them straight out of the gate. You'd have kind of an edgy main character. There's probably something OP about them, but they're gonna start out in level 1 in this broad fantasy universe. A lot of times the universes behave like a video game. Generally, this main character will end up having a harem of some kind along the story. After a while, though, the manga and anime industry started doing what it does best, reinventing itself, and many people started to play with this genre. A lot of it really ironic and in a comedy-esque way, hence the birth of the comedy isekai. There's tons of example of these. Konosuba is probably the most famous. The Slime Princess one is also pretty famous. Basically, they take these same kind of genres, plots, ideas, and themes of your traditional isekai, but turn it into a more kind of comedy, ironic-esque bend. This type of isekai, this ironic-esque isekai, I think has done really well because it resonates with a lot of fans who have become a little disenfranchised and overwhelmed by the saturation of isekai, and it's fun to see an anime poke fun at itself and its own genre and the kind of tropes within the genre. From this point, some people started flipping the script, and instead of having a character from our universe transported to another world, they had a character or a person from another universe or possibly another time period transported to our world. Probably the best example of this being your boy Conming, another comedy isekai. I consider this an isekai. I've seen some people argue that it's not, but it basically just is a reverse isekai, and it's very funny. Obviously, a huge theme with isekai is this kind of culture shock, this adaptation of your mindset in our world, in our time, to a new mindset. In an example with your boy Conming taking the legendary strategist from the Three Kingdoms time, Zhuge Liang Kongming, and then transporting them into our world. I'm pretty sure that that's the same person, right? Kongming is supposed to be Zhuge Liang. I'm not tripping, right? Now, throughout all of this, there's been a ton of really bad isekai that's come up, and personally, I have had enough with isekai. However, I have to say, with all of these isekais, all of the trash, copy-paste isekais, none took me off guard and made me go, what the fuck, more than I was reborn as a vending machine. Yes, you heard me right. Imagine your classic isekai-esque themes and scenarios, but instead of your main classic, maybe edgy OP protag young lad, interchange them out with a guy who gets transformed into a vending machine. Now, my first reaction upon seeing this trailer and hearing about this was like, wow, that's fucking stupid, and I have a weird feeling that it's gonna be really degen. Of course, in the anime and manga world, you can't judge a book by its cover. There's a lot of anime and manga out there who I probably never would have given a chance just based off their title or the cover or these short plot synopsis. So in order to get a really good understanding and judge this show, we had to watch episode 1. So before we begin, I just need to say that this anime, at least from watching episode 1, is very silly, a little wholesome, and possibly a bit degen. It plays off the classic isekai fantasy video game-esque theme, our main character dying in the first few minutes of the episode to where they awaken being transported to another world, a fantasy-esque kind of video game-esque MMO world, but they are now a vending machine. Apparently our main character here was obsessed with vending machines, so he was reborn as a vending machine in another life. Instead of like the traditional kind of isekai themes, like the leveling up process, the EXP collection process, all of that stuff, they've kind of reimagined these themes into the perspective of this magical vending machine. Instead of experience point, our vending machine boy has a point-based system that basically he has to spend in order to keep his power on so he doesn't die, replenish his stock, change out his stock for new stock, new drinks, new food. As well, he can do some crazy magical power things, apparently. Now, I just have to say that this anime does a hilarious job making Japanese vending machines seem like the coolest things ever. Now, I lived in Japan for over a year, and I have to say that while Japanese vending machines are insane, and they do beat out American vending machines easily. The fact that they serve both hot and cold drinks, the fact that you can get full meals and all sorts of different types of food, and things that you never thought you would want from a vending machine. But in all honesty, I have to say that like majority of these things, probably like 90% of them, aren't great. Japanese vending machines are convenient and super cool. The majority of the drinks and the food and all sorts of those things that you get out of them are not good. But man, would you not know that from watching this anime? Don't tell me that there's like some vending machine lobby group in Japan somewhere that like paid to have this anime made, because that would be hilarious. The first half of episode 1 follows our vending machine boy as he attempts to survive in this fantasy world until he is saved by kind of the main party leader, it seems, this young lady, who of course is probably a little too scantily dressed. Now, I've only watched one episode, so I don't know how degen this anime goes, or if there's gonna be any harem vibes in the future. Please tell me they didn't make a Japanese vending machine harem manga. While that is hilarious, really, Japan, really? And yes, the story seems like it will follow the adventures of our vending machine boy and his lady friend, along with a bigger party, you know, of people that they're gonna eventually build. Ultimately, this anime is very silly. It's pretty wholesome and cute, and I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to. A tentative 6 out of 10. Don't get me wrong, it is stupid, but it is funny, and it is wholesome, and it is something different and new, and I have to applaud the anime and manga industry for their ability to adapt. I think that's one of the coolest things about manga and anime is their ability to re-examine and redraw and readapt different elements, themes, and stories like from a genre that's been heavily repeated and saturated. I mean, think of all the shonen anime out there that follow a broad same kind of plot structure and thematic structure, but all happen to be unique, different, and enjoyable to watch in their own right. I'm not gonna say that the vending machine anime is a good anime, but it doesn't seem like it's trash. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about Isekai and the vending machine anime in the comment section down below. If you'd like to see more content, then please click one of the videos on screen now. As always, guys, drink your water, hug your mother. Until next time, peace, love, Adu.